Hello, this is Jimmy with Young's Chimney and Dryer Vent Cleaning Service, and today I just want to make a quick video to help you understand your dryer vent exhaust system in your house. You probably have one of three styles of dryer vents. You either have one that goes straight out the side of your house. This isn't the best picture for that, but it just goes right through an outside wall. You can have one that goes all the way up through your attic and up out your roof. And then you can have what's called an underground vent made out of PVC pipe. These are the least common, but we do see them over here in DeBerry quite a bit in the Golf and Country Club. So if you've got an up through the roof type dryer vent system, you really need to be cleaning that once a year. What's going to happen as you're exhausting air, heat, and lint up through this ductwork, you are going to have a flapper system up here. It's going to get caked up. It's going to clog up the duct here, and it's going to close down like an artery in a heart. And as you're trying to exhaust about a gallon of water and condensation out this pipe, it's not going to let it get out anymore. The dampness is going to stay in the dryer, and your clothes just aren't going to dry. You can keep throwing heat at it and electric at it. It can take 2-3 hours to dry. I had one customer that hers was taking 24 hours to dry. It was pretty stuffed up, as you can imagine. It works the same way with an underground one. These ones tend to get a little bit more water in them because they sit near the floor. And you need to clean them out a little bit more because PVC pipe can create static electricity. But most people have these up through the roof ones, or they go right out the side. The out the side ones don't need to be cleaned quite as much, and if you can keep the flapper clean, you can maintenance a little bit of it yourself. But it's these up through the roof ones that tend to get people in a pickle. And what we do when we come out is we'll come out, turn the dryer on, we'll climb up the ladder, we'll get up on the roof, and we'll put an airflow gauge right in front of the duct, which is a little fan, and it gives us a digital reading. And what we're looking to see when we're finished is 1,500 feet a minute. So we'll take a reading, we'll document it, then we'll come down into the house, we'll pull the dryer away from the wall. We're going to run some brushes up through the pipe, clearing this all out of here. Then we're going to blow this out with a high pressure blower. And then we'll go into the lint trap down in here, and we will clean all of the lint out of there with brushes and vacuum attachments. So at that point, your whole vent system is cleaned. But that's not all we do. We take things a step further. We have a certification by the Chimney Safety Institute of America, and we've been trained that fires with dryer vents actually start in the dryer itself. So essentially what happens is this lint gets backed up in here and the air can't go out, and it starts creating back pressure. That back pressure is going to push air, heat, and lint at the dryer itself, and what it will do is it will push past the seals inside the dryer, and down here underneath your drum where your heating element and your motor is, it can start to fill up with lint real heavy down here. Why that's scary and why that's a problem is this is how your dryer works. It vacuums air in from around the dryer, in through the vents in the back of it, into that heating element, and the coils reach about 1,300 degrees. So if you're pulling all that lint into that heating element and it starts to build up in there over time, you can get enough lint in there where it can catch that on fire, and then it's just going to blow that fire through this whole system and take your house with it. So it's one of the top leading causes of all house fires. So when we come out to clean the vent, we don't just clean the vent system out like 99% of the other companies. We inspect the dryer. We're going to take a little bit of it apart. We're going to open up the back of it, pull a pipe out. We're going to pop the lid, whatever we need to do to get into your particular dryer. And we're going to shine a flashlight in here and see if we see a bunch of flammable lint building up down there. And if it's down there, we're going to show it to you. And if you want us to go in here and remove that, that's what we specialize in. My guys are trained to pull apart all makes and models of dryers, and they can go in and efficiently clean them out. We'll use brushes and vacuums, and we'll go in with with a small pancake air compressor and we'll blow everything out in there. We do most of our cleaning with vacuums and brushes, but we'll finish off with the air compressor just to make sure that, you know, it's good as new in there. So after we get all this set up, we're going to go ahead and check the pipe behind the dryer. We're going to make sure that it's not a foil pipe. Foil transition ducts tend to reduce airflow from anywhere from 15 to 30%, depending on, you know, the configuration behind the dryer. The problem with a foil one is when you close it down like a slinky, it actually shuts down into itself and the inner diameter closes, and when you pull it out, it opens up to 4 inches. So they want you to have a metal 4-inch duct behind here, 4 inches so it can flow properly, but metal, so if you actually do have a small fire down here, God forbid, and it gets to that transition duct or that duct in between the dryer and the wall, the metal is supposed to keep it contained inside the pipe longer, hoping that it burns up the little bit of lint that's in there if you've been keeping up with your dryer vent before it burns through the foil pipe. Now these foil pipes are actually a combustible material, meaning that they're a fuel. So it literally says on the back of the dryer, there's a sticker and it will say, do not use a foil pipe, that it must be rigid and metal, and that if you fail to follow these instructions, it can result in death or fire. You can ask anyone who comes out to your house to turn the dryer around and you'll see that. So we check for that. If that's something you need, we can supply that to you. After we get everything cleaned and set up, then we're going to go ahead back up on the roof with our airflow gauge and we're going to look for 1,500 feet a minute. If we don't see that number, first thing we're going to do is we're going to come back down, pull it apart, and we're going to run a camera up through this pipe and see if we can find any kind of restriction at the roof line, or if there's anything going on in that pipe that we just can't visually see, you know, which is pretty hard to see without running the camera through. So we'll run the camera through and we'll make sure we get it all clean, and then we're looking for this number here. Now, this is an interesting number because if we leave the foil pipe on here, we can hit this number typically right around this number, 1,500 feet a minute. But when we swap out those metal pipes after we clean anything, we'll hit numbers anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500. So those foil pipes back there, they can create quite the issue. They're probably not your main issue. If you just go back there and swap out the foil pipe and put a metal one on and you're all restricted up in here and clogged up, or your flapper stuck shut, you're probably not going to notice much of a difference. But once you go ahead and you open all this up and then you open the bottom up, it really creates some nice airflow through there. And the interesting thing about a dryer is when you get bad airflow, the dryer actually compensates for bad airflow by turning the heat up. So it's going to jack the heat way up and hit, like, you know, much higher than 1,300 degrees. And then when it gets above that temperature, it can break what's called a thermal fuse, which is set in there that if you're overheating the dryer, it's going to go ahead and break the thermal fuse, and that's going to cost you more money. I get a lot of calls, a couple a week, saying, hey, the appliance guy was just out, he fixed my thermal fuse, but he said don't turn on the dryer because the clog is going to make the dryer overheat again and break the thermal fuse. So this usually costs anywhere from $150 to $250 to replace, and then you have to have the vent cleaned anyway. So that's why it's important to have these vents cleaned out on an annual basis. Do it once a year. The cleaner that you keep this vent here, the cleaner the inside of your dryer is going to be. Because if you can keep the air flowing up and out and you don't have a back pressure situation occur where it starts pushing back this way, this dryer is going to stay far cleaner. So every time we come out to clean the vent system, we go ahead and look in the dryer. If you're cleaning the vent out every year, we may look in that dryer. It could be 3 to 5 years that we look in that dryer and it's still pretty clean and you don't have to do anything with that. But if you've never had a company come out that actually opens up the dryer and cleans it, you could be at risk for a dryer fire. So that's kind of the basics, the 101. You know, obviously we know a little bit more about them than that, but I just wanted to give you a quick understanding of the most important things about dryer vents. Now that you've taken my class, you probably know more than 95% 9% of the people out there cleaning dryer vents. So welcome to Young's Chimney Service Dryer Vent 101. Give us a call if you need your dryer vent cleaned. This is our number, 407-323-8881. That's our dryer vent number. So go ahead and give us a call and we'll take care of this for you. Have a good day.